Thank you very much. My name is Thierry Schreyer. I'm Protection in the Movement Manager. And thank you very much for inviting me for this presentation. So Protection in the Movement, probably some of you knows it already, is an initiative that has been launched by the ICRC in 2018. And it aims at developing, together with colleagues from the Federation and from national societies, the concept of protection within the movement. It started in 2018 due to a clear increased interest by a number of national societies to start working on protection, and increased request also to the ICRC to provide support, to provide trainings on the question of protection, this being probably a link also to the question of migrants that started, of course, earlier, but it was probably one of the reason why there were more interest on this question of protection. To this end, the ICRC has created a Movement Protection Advisory Board, which is chaired by the ICRC together with the Federation and the national societies from Sweden, Norway, Turkey, South Sudan, Nigeria, Belize, Lebanon, and Australia. And there is three main goals to this advisory board. The first one is to develop a common understanding of what is protection in the movement, and for instance, to work on a common definition of what is protection. To work also on improving the complementarity of approaches within the movement, and to develop tools and support national societies willing to develop a protection response. All this in view of having more people better protected. A number of tools and trainings have been already developed, but today I just would like to focus on two topics. One is the minimum protection approach that maybe some of you are already familiar with, and I know that some of you are already because I can see the names of the persons who are present. And also I will quickly speak about the process that should lead to having a protection in the movement resolution for the Council of Delegates in 2023. So maybe we can start with the slides. It's one before, Maite, if possible. If you have it, or if I made a mistake when I sent it to you. But no, two before.
The one before.
This one is the last one. Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you very much. So the minimum protection approach. What is it? It's a tool. It's an approach that provides. The idea is to provide a minimum level of response to protection needs identified through the course of any activities by any movement partners, including, of course, MHPSS, and ensure the capacity to analyze, prioritize, and react to violations of the rights of the individuals assisted. Through the minimum protection approach, the movement actors doesn't have the ambition to holistically assess and address all the protection needs, but gives itself the means to react to issues that comes to his attention in the course of the activities. This is the main goal of this approach. It doesn't require to develop systematic protection assessment or even a systematic protection response, but to be able to respond to the needs we are witnessing in most contexts and in the frame of most activities. By responding to needs, we mean either to develop a direct dialogue with the authorities on the question of protection, or to develop a referral system to another organization better placed to follow up. In some context, it can be, why not the ICRC? It can be, of course, the national societies, but it can be also UNICEF, any specialized UN agency, or a local NGO who is best placed to deal with the issues that we have encountered. Alors, this approach, to mention that it was first developed in the frame of detention, together in particular with the Swedish, the Norwegian Red Cross, the Dutch and UK national societies. But today it is recognized as an approach that can be valid in any type of activities the movement would develop. If I may, to better explain this approach, if I may, I would like to take a personal example, and I'm sorry to speak about something that a personal example, but still, I was in Greece in 2017. In one of the camps for refugees, and as you know, many movement partners were working there. The Federation, of course, a number of national societies. The ICRC was also present, and I remember the case of a woman that we discussed together with the Federation. This woman had been beaten by her husband during the night. So what she did at the morning, she came to see some colleagues from the Greece Red Cross, who provided them with the medical treatment. And then the medical doctor sent this woman to get psychological support, and she was somehow accepted or integrated into a program that will lead to a 1 hour psychological support a week. But then this lady was simply turned back to the container she was living with her, where she was living with her husband. So in this case, nothing was done to try to somehow protect her from being beaten again by her husband. And I'm not here trying to say that it's something wrong that we did or we didn't. That's not the question, but simply that this question of protection was at the time not taken into consideration and not planned in advance. So basically, in this case, we try to take action on the consequences of the violation, but not on the causes of the violation, or to find a solution to avoid further violence. And it's precisely what the minimum protection approach is this capacity to react to this kind of cases we may encounter in any type of activities we are developing. I will not go more into details because we don't have much time, but you should have received a one-pager. I don't know if Maite, you had the chance to distribute it. A one-pager that explained this approach. We have a slightly more complete explanation that is available also in the protection community of practice. I will come back to this. It's slightly longer, but we don't have, it's not a big document that requires hours of reading before getting the concept. So I think already this one pager gives you an idea of what can be done through the minimum protection approach. The next slide, please, Maite. Even if it is a minimum protection approach, it does not necessarily something that can be put in place without certain requisites and without certain planning before developing this approach. And there is here 6 main prerequisites we see before we can actually start the minimum protection approach. The first one is the agreement of the internal leadership to get the support and understanding of the leadership of the national society or of the ICRC or the Federation on implementing this approach. The second one is the integration of protection standards and policies. And here I will mention only 2 that can be the professional standard for protection work by the ICRC, or can also refer to the protection, gender and inclusion of the Federation, but there may be also other policies to take into account. Training and capacity building of staff on protection. This is key to train our staff. And here, if I may mention the training that has been developed by the Swedish Red Cross on what is protection and how to implement it. This training is available for all national societies. It's very well done, short, focusing on this question. It takes 20 minutes to do. It's available in English today, but we are translating it into Spanish. We need also to integrate data protection and safeguards. That's obvious. Protection information may be extremely touchy, and there is a link here with the question of do no harm. We need a need analysis on the whole of other actors, who is best placed to answer to the needs we may encounter, and the dialogue and the agreement with the authorities. The authorities should be aware of what we are trying to do and why we are collecting a number of information. Today around the world, we have about 30 national societies who are either implementing this approach directly or considering implementing it. We are also preparing a draft report on the minimum protection approach to present a little bit what has been done so far and what will need to be further developed to make it more efficient. And we hope to be able to share this report beginning of next year. I would like just at this point to underline that there is no expectation by the ICRC or by the advisory board to see all national societies implementing protection response. That's not the point. We fully understand that in some contexts, it will not be possible for different reasons: lack of resources, lack of training, lack of agreement with the authorities. This is fine, but we do expect to see an increase, and it's what we are trying to do, to see an increase in the number of national societies considering the possibility to implement this approach. I ask you the next slide, Maite, and I will finish on this. One of the initiatives of the movement advisory board is a process that should lead to the adoption of a protection resolution, protection in the movement resolution for the Council of Delegates in 2023. The resolution should prioritize the following elements that you can see on the screen. First, to underline the need to have more people better protected by movement action, to establish a common understanding of what the movement considers as protection and establish a greater coherence and complementarity of action. And for me, this question of complementarity is maybe the key of what we are trying to do. We don't have to do, not all movement actors should do the same, but it should be complementarity. Acknowledge what is already being done in protection by the movement, and there is a lot that is being done already. Present the added value of movement actors in protection, internally and why not externally, also to donors who are also interested to see the movement more involved in protection, and increase the capacity of the movement, including the national societies, to act in the area of protection. Alors, for preparing this resolution, to mention you two events to which I will somehow ask you to be involved in. The first one will be in March 2022. We would like to have a meeting of all protection working groups, protection platforms that we have around the movement, and there is many actually, and to take maybe 2 hours to consider these questions and to see if already we can somehow have a kind of agreement of what are the points we will have to consider for the resolution. So this will be in March, and an invitation will be sent in due time. And the second one is on the 12th of April 2022. I know it's in 4 months, but it goes quickly. There will be a workshop in the frame of the Council of Delegates 2022 that will be organized by the Movement Protection Advisory Board, and that will focus on these questions. And my last point, you may know that we have also a community of practice where we have almost 1,000 members from my national societies, IFRC, ICRC. It's a place where we can discuss different topics, links to protection, but it's also a place where we can somehow welcome thematic groups. We have, for instance, the child protection has a specific page on it. We have the PGI that have a specific page, and others. And of course, should you be interested one day as MHPSS to have a specific page on this community of practice, we would be more than happy to welcome you. Thank you very much, and I think I will stop here. I hope I have not been too long.